fame is very attractive, you know, but it's very, very dangerous. No other field than surgery is it more important to spend hours doing it. You get not only incrementally better, but exponentially better the more you do surgery. You're better at 50 than you are at 40, you're better at 60 than you are at 50.
How is AI going to improve the future of plastic surgery?
I don't think it's going to have any effect until robots learn how to have hands.
Welcome to In Search of Excellence. My guest today is my friend Terry Dubrow. He is a star plastic surgeon, one of the best plastic surgeons in the world, and the star of the awesome TV show Botched, which I watched, I think, for the first 3 years every night after I met my wife, Madison. She was absolutely obsessed with the show. Terry, thanks for being here. Welcome to In Search of Excellence.
Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to this.
So let's go 11 years forward in your career. You have an excellent career. And they're casting for a show called The Swan, which was a life-changing moment for you.
Yeah.
Let's start at the beginning. Let's talk about the producer interviewing 250 people before selecting you. How did you get selected? Yeah. Tell us about the show.
Okay. It is widely, and I agree, considered the worst reality show of all time. And not at the time, though, but now when you look back, it was. But they sent out faxes to all these plastic surgeons. Basically, if you were board certified in plastic surgery, you got a fax saying, casting for a new reality show about plastic surgery. So I hand this to my office manager.
This was before reality was huge. I mean, it was big, but it was nothing like today.
The only thing that was really, it was before it was huge, but I mean, American Idol was on.
Yeah.
So my office manager sends them a fax or sends them something saying, yeah, we'd like to apply. I didn't think about it. The casting agents came down and met me, interviewed me, and left. And I thought, well, okay, well, whatever. So unbeknownst to me, they had interviewed everybody in Newport Beach, everybody in Beverly Hills, and there in between. And they started with like 250, went down to 200, went down to 100. And then they were like in the last 20. And they called my office manager some 5 months later, goes, hey, they're coming back down to interview you again. And I go, okay. So they come back down and they talk to me again, and they leave. I don't hear from them for 3 months. And then they call me directly. They want to speak to me directly, and they say, hey, you're in the top 10. You got the final callback to be on this show. I go, what's a callback? I didn't even know what that was. They go, yeah. I said, are you guys coming down again? No, the creator of the show and the executive producer are coming down this time. And I said, okay.
That would be Nellie Galan.
Nellie Galan and this other guy, I can't remember his name, really nice guy. And they sit down in front of me, and Nellie goes, why should we pick you to be the plastic surgeon on The Swan? And I said to her, I don't know that you should, to be honest with you. She goes, why? I go, because look at me. I don't look like a TV plastic surgeon. I'm not a Beverly Hills plastic surgeon. I go, but I will tell you, I absolutely love plastic surgery. I love it. It's so interesting. I love it head to toe. I love what it can do for people. I love the way it makes people feel. And like, I'm talking like this, and she turns to the guy right there, and she goes, him. And he goes, definitely. And I go, she goes, so who do you want to do it with? I go, you telling me I got it? She goes, you got it. And I go, well, I trained with this guy at UCLA. He was co-chief resident with me. How about him? Is he on the list? Well, we kind of, I go interview him again because we'll be safe. And you have to be safe with this. She goes, okay. She interviews him, and she comes back to me. She goes, what dentist do you like? I go, I like this dentist. She goes, what trainer do you like? I go, my trainer. So she picked everybody except the therapist. I didn't pick the therapist. Everybody I cast on the show, and we started the show, and I had no idea what it was going to be. They didn't really know what it was going to be, and then we did the show.
So what's the one-liner on the show?
It's a show where a group of so-called ugly ducklings.
So bad, by the way.
Right?
You're ugly, come on my show.
Know, right. The message would never work now.
Yeah.
Ugly ducklings come, leave their lives for 3 months, and dedicate themselves to an internal external transformation, and then compete weekly to be a part of a beauty contest. And they're either eliminated or not eliminated. If you're eliminated, you go home with your plastic surgery, which is a win. If you're not, you get to participate in a beauty contest at the end to see who becomes the ultimate swan. And They were sort of making up the show as it was going along, but it was a major television production on Fox by the people who do, you know, Top Chef and all of those. And so I remember we did the show. This was sort of a peak experience for me. We did the show, watching American Idol, and it was like in the 4th episode of American Idol. And what were they getting? 50 million viewers a week, American Idol back then? And there's a commercial, and it says, coming this fall. And it starts to show a rapid fire sequence, all these surgical scenes and all these people having surgery and having transformations. I think I see myself in there or not. And then it ends up with a chair, and I'm sitting there, and I look at the camera, and I go, it's a scalpel, not a magic wand. The Swan. And I look at Heather, my wife, and I go, did this just happen? And I remember we had TiVo. And so I rewound it, and then I'll be perfectly honest with you, every time she would like get up to go to the bathroom or go get something in the kitchen, I rewind it and go, it's a scalpel, not a magic wand. I must have watched myself narcissistically say that 50 times that night. It's a scalpel, not a magic wand. And I was like, oh my God, the Swan. It was so crazy.
This was your coming out party.
This was my coming out, and the show came out, and it was after American Idol.
Couldn't ask for a better lead-in.
I mean, they had like 20 million, I don't know, it was huge. Within 2 episodes, I could walk into any liquor store, any restaurant, anywhere, because there was like, what, 7 channels back then maybe? Everybody knew who I was. It was instant fame.
What was that like?
Awesome. It was so awesome because reality TV fame is different than movie star fame. Everybody is really nice to you, and everybody doesn't treat you like, they treat you special, but not like, oh, you're a little Brad Pitt or you're Robert Downey Jr., kind of, oh, like this. They're like, hey, great job, hey Terry. It's like, and it's still that way. It's the best kind of fame, being a reality TV person. Everybody's so just sweet and nice. And even if they don't like you, they act like they like you. So it was really weird. It changed everything overnight.
And massive, doubled your number of surgery outputs as well, overnight.
I mean, I went from doing, you know, a typical plastic surgeon will do 110 cases a year. I was doing 700.
7 days a week.
7 days a week. And so that whole, you know, no other field than surgery is it more important to spend hours doing it. You get not only incrementally better, but exponentially better the more you do surgery. Even in your 30s and 40s and 50s, you're better at 50 than you are at 40, you're better at 60 than you are at 50. It just works that way. Imagine Tom Brady, if he didn't degenerate physically, how much better a quarterback he'd be today if he could have Tom Brady's physicality at 27, or when he figured out his own physicality. Imagine him as a quarterback now, knowing what he knows. But anyway, so I got to be like a surgeon within 3 years with about 12 years of surgical experience in 3 years. It was good. And the financial success that came with that was really fun too.
We'll talk about that a little later in the show as well. I hope you're enjoying this video so far, but before we jump back in, I want to know if you've ever thought about what you need to do to reach the next level of success in your life. Over the last 25 years, I've been an advisor to more than 50 companies. I've invested nearly 100, including Google, Lyft, and Seagate, and I also co-founded a company that today is worth more than $15 billion. I've been incredibly blessed in my journey, and at this stage in my life, I want to give back. I want to share the lessons I've learned so you can reach incredible success way faster than I did. In my own journey, I've learned that having the right mentor is a massive advantage to achieving our goals. I'm hugely passionate about mentoring others, and I'm looking for a few hungry entrepreneurs who are excited to take action on their journey to incredible future success. So if that's you, I've got an opportunity. In the description of this video, there's a link where you can apply to work with me. All you need to do is answer a few simple questions, and if you're a good fit, my team will reach out so we can build a game plan together. All right, now let's get back to the video. It airs for 3 seasons, then you take a break for the show that no one else really remembers, Bridoplasty.
Yes.
And then 3.5 years goes by, and then you get this call when you have the flu from Paul Nassif. Am I saying this?
Paul Nassif.
Paul Nassif.
Yes.
Who pitched you on something that you called the stupidest idea ever.
Yeah.
Turned out to be not so stupid.
Yeah, backing up just slightly, Paul had gone on to Real Housewives of Beverly Hills I went on, it's 2007 and 8, global financial crisis. Nobody was having plastic surgery. There was nothing happening. Our offices were completely empty. There was nothing to do. I don't know how that affected you. I'd love to hear how it affected you. Probably didn't affect you. You were successful by then. But anyway.
In 2008?
You remember global financial crisis?
So interesting that you asked. So our company had gone public around 15 months after we incorporated, and with $3.2 million in revenue, our valuation was $35 billion, which was more at the time than Chrysler, Ford, and GM combined. During the financial crisis, in 2008, yeah, during the financial crisis, the stock cratered. And I remember it was my 40th birthday. I'd always want to go to Tuscany, so I have a girlfriend. It is not going well. We broke up. She had substance abuse issues, and we'd break up all the time. Basically, begged her to go on the trip. It was an expensive trip. It was paid for. Come on, we'll go. It's my birthday. It was a disaster. Not only were we not getting along, but I saw my stock portfolio, which was substantial, going down by tens of millions of dollars every day and just getting sick. I had just gotten a divorce, so was very generous with my ex-wife, and then I got this much left, and now I've got 40% left. I'm just absolutely beside myself.
Okay. So you had similar.
I mean, depressed. It's like, oh my God,
Okay.
I don't even want to go out for a $200 dinner.
Okay.
Because the hotel room's $2,500 a night.
Right.
And I remember canceling my party. Berlin, who played at a charity event that I started called the Justice Ball, had played at the Justice Ball years before, and I wanted Terry Nunn, who I had a crush on, to play at my birthday party. And I remember booking it through William Morris. And on the trip, I said, "Hey, I'm not doing this." Yeah. So yeah, that was a bad time for me.
So same for me.
Yeah.
Except literally no one was having plastic surgery.
Yeah.
Zero. Tumbleweeds. Okay, in all of our offices. And I just moved. We built this giant, beautiful home in Newport Coast, and I put all my funds into it, and I need money to furnish it and so on. And anyway. So I'm sitting there, and we're all sort of looking at each other. You ever see the Hot for Teacher video, Van Halen with a little kid like this?
Yeah.
We're all sort of like this, where's my pencil? I got my, that. And so Heather goes, what are we going to do? And I remember I said, I'm going to do something extraordinary. She goes, do it. I go, okay. So I took an iPad, couldn't sleep at all. I took an iPad, it was like 4 a.m, and I go, my wife's best friends are all these beautiful girls whose husbands, one was the CEO of Smith & Wesson, one was a neurosurgeon, all wealthy, very talented business people we were all freaking out, suffering. One guy owned the biggest wall design company in the nation that just tanked immediately. And we had been joking at one of our dinners that we should open up a restaurant, have our wives do it. It'll be a spectacular failure, but won't it be funny? And our wives were really pretty women, okay? Very TV ready. One of the guys had a helicopter. He started Boost Mobile in Australia, Peter Adderton. Anyway, so I wake up and I go, okay. And I take out the thing and I go Google, I go, how do you write a pitch deck? And I'm reading how to write a pitch deck for a reality show. So I start to write up a pitch deck called Pelican Hill Wives TV show about these wives of these guys who open up a restaurant. It's going to be a spectacular failure. And I take their pictures from their Instagram and I put them in there and I go, I do a pretty good job. Now I'd have ChatGPT do it, but it took me like 2 serious nights, maybe 6 hours to do it. And it was really, I sort of put together really well. And then I said, okay, so who produces The Biggest Loser? And I go, okay, so I sent this off. I go, here's a great idea for a TV show. And then I sent it off to this other producer and this other producer. Just like that story you told me about you sent out all those letters and got all those interviews. Every single major production company within 12 hours, text me back and go, we want to meet with those girls and you. So I met with all of them around town, all the major production companies, and they all offer us a deal to do the show. Now, it doesn't mean the show's sold, but the producers are willing to do a development with these. And then we're about to sign with, I think, The Biggest Loser producers. And the girls are so excited, oh, we're gonna get on a reality show. And the guys in behind go, where are we getting the money to open up this restaurant, by the way? are you going to fund this thing? I'm going, I don't have it right now. It's in my house. I need it for furniture. Anyway, so then I go, so Heather, my wife goes, and the girls go, who should we sign with? And I go, let me think about it. So that night I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I go, who does that? There's that Housewives show. And so I look up producers of Housewives, and it was Evolution. So I said, well, I send them off. 12 hours later, I get a thing saying, hey, we'd like to take a meeting. They get in their helicopter, they fly, all the girls fly up to meet them in Burbank. I drive my hybrid after work, and I meet with this guy named Alex Baskin, who's one of the most powerful reality producers in Hollywood right now. And I meet with him and I go, huh? And he goes, yeah, I see it. And then I'm driving home and I go, listen, he calls me and I go, so, what do you think? And he goes, I have a proposition for you. How about this? I have a better idea. He goes, why don't you have your wife be the next housewife on Real Housewives of Orange County, and we'll let you bring that on there and incubate that on a hit show. And I go, whoa, that's a great idea.
Incubate the restaurant idea, but we're not
spin it off.
Okay, but we're not on the botch story right now. We're on the.
But this is how I got on reality TV.
Oh, this is how you got on the TV show. Okay, gotcha. You're listening to part 2 of my incredible interview with Terry Dubrow, the most famous plastic surgeon in the world and the star of the TV hit show Botched. If you haven't yet listened to part 1, be sure to check that one out first. Now, without further ado, here's part 2 of my awesome interview with Terry.
When you're on a reality TV show, it's not that it's so great to be on a reality TV show, it's just you want to stay on a reality TV show. You don't want to ever get off because you don't want to lose that fame.
Yeah.
It's weird. So he calls me, he goes, I have an idea. Let's do a show about fixing complications from plastic surgery. And I go, that is the worst idea ever. And he goes, why? I go, because if they have such bad complications, everybody's tried to fix them, they failed. What are the chances we're going to be able to fix them? And what if we fail on national television? We're done. And I said to him, I have a better idea. Let's do a show about fixing congenital and traumatic injuries. And he goes, oh, okay. So anyway, we take a meeting with the Housewife producers because we know them because we're on the Housewives. And they go, we love that idea. Let's call it Nip Fucked.
After
Nip Tucked.
Which was probably my favorite show on the air. Those guys were
awesome.
Awesome.
So we'll call it Nip Fucked. So Paul and I do a 5-minute sizzle reel where we're just looking through pictures of celebrities and sort of commenting on them, and I'm making fun of Paul and he's talking to me, and that was it. And we submit this to the network, this 5-minute sizzle reel, and they go straight to series. And a week before the show comes out, they decide the advertisers don't like the name Nip Fucked. Even though there was a show on called Shit My Father Says.
Yes.
Starring William Shatner. But anyway.
But the F word's a little more on the spectrum.
It was going to be, it's true,
yeah.
F*** CKD. Anyway, so I go, what did they change it? We changed it to Botched. And Paul and I went, that's a disaster. And they go, why? And I said, because that means the doctor blew it. And that's going to what are we going to make fun of the doctor? They're going to hate us. Anyway, that was the genesis of Botched.
Okay, for everybody watching the show right now and listening, we are coming back to the Housewives story. I've got
you have more Housewives?
So many people talk. You got to ask Terry about the Housewives. You got to ask about Heather and the Housewives. So we're coming back to that. Everyone's listening.
Sorry, but I had to tell you how I met Paul.
No, it's perfect.
The Paul thing.
It's perfect. So it reoriented your practice, essentially, because you went from doing routine procedures to reinventing yourself, essentially doing things that were passionate and difficult.
Yeah, so the first season, they sent us all these potential candidates, and I said to Paul, I go, we can't fix that. We can't fix it. So we turned down 98% and took the ones that looked bad we thought maybe we had a chance to fix. And we fixed them, and it worked. And then the second season, we started to take more difficult cases. And all of a sudden, we got 10,000 hours doing the most impossible plastic surgery, and it became easy.
So Botched aired for 8 seasons. And now you're doing a rewind.
And Botched.
What has it been picked up again?
Well, I can't announce that officially, but it's looking.
People will be excited.
More Botched, yeah.
My wife will be thrilled.
You can look forward to more Botched.
Crazy things happen on that show.
Yeah.
What's the most? And when I watched it for the first time, I mean, a lot of people don't like gore, right? My wife, I like watching murder mysteries, and whenever she walks into the bedroom at night, someone's getting shot, their head is getting blown off, whatever the case may be. But yet here we are, and she's watching things on Botched that I'm having a hard time watching. Oh, this is so cool, so cool. It ended up being cool for me. I thought, okay, well, this is interesting. You learn a lot about human nature, and we'll talk about the mental things that go through a lot of these patients. But what was the most difficult case that you had on Botched?
So there was this woman who came in season 3 who had illegal substances injected into her face at one of these sort of plumping parties they have. And they called her the madam, used to go to a hardware store and get caulking material and tell patients it was regular filler and inject it into their face. And she started to grow these granulomas, these inflammatory masses in response to them. So she came in season 2 or 3 with these giant, and we knew we were going to turn her down. We already knew that because too dangerous. You could kill the skin, injure the nerves, make it worse, reignite more of an inflammatory response. So we brought her on, and I met her, and I went, oh my gosh, I can't believe she has to live like this. So the season ends, and for the next 5 months between season 3 and season 4, I wake up every morning at 4 a.m. and just think about, what can I do for her? And then I had an epiphany, and I figured out how to address it. And the concept is, why am I trying to remove all of it? Just remove the central 7/8, leave the skin above it intact, leave the nerves below it intact, and you have bones that are regular anyway. As long as you can't see it, even if you can feel it, she'll look normal. So I brought her back on the show the next season, and I borrowed my buddy's orthopedic tools, his saws, and I sawed out I lifted up her face and sawed out the concrete, and it worked. So that was my riskiest and most sort of successful, impossible rescue on Botched.
And you tell people before surgery, like a lot of surgeons do, you could die from the surgery.
Oh yeah.
So they sign all kinds of forms. Have any of your patients died after surgery?
No. I've been very fortunate. I've had maybe 7 or 8 patients who've had blood clots in their legs who spread to their lungs. And I'm very paranoid. One thing about being on television, it imbues in you a certain level of both social and career paranoia. And you're stupid if it doesn't, but for me it does. It makes me extremely paranoid. So if my patient, I see all my patients many, many times immediately after surgery, and if they call with any kind of complaint, come in, got to see you, or go to the ER right now. And so all 7 or 8 of those have made it to the ER, were put on anticoagulants, and survived.
You do life-saving surgeries for people, and I think today's environment, people think about mental health in a way they didn't used to before. 20 years ago, it's like, oh, you're depressed, get over it. Today, you see a lot of suicides from what appear to be normally healthy people,
right.
People who commit suicide without warning because they haven't told people. What percentage of patients do you think whose lives you're saving because they're mentally suffering so much that they want to look better?
That's an interesting question. I can tell you that we've done 8 seasons over 10 years.
Not just on the show, but just in...
Oh, in general?
Yeah, in your general practice.
I mean, I'd like to think a lot, but I can't tell you how many times I've had a patient hug and cry and say that I saved their lives and that this is a restart and they can get a job now and do on. I think that's been a happy part of my career.
There's excess in a lot of things we do. Talk about body dysmorphic disorder. Explain to people what it is and then how that affects your practice. Yes and no.
It's very tricky because body dysmorphia disorder, which people refer to also as BDD, is when a person has an extreme concern about something in their appearance that's above and beyond what they should have or even what you can see. It's like a bump on the nose can be devastating and it's ruining my life when you have to sort of turn their head to take a look at it. So it's an extraordinary level of concern about a minimal deformity sort of kind of thing. The problem with Botched, and one of the scariest things with Botched, is that some of the patients got to where they got because they have body dysmorphia and they keep going to plastic surgeons to have more plastic surgery. And if you walk into a plastic surgeon's office, he's going to offer you surgery. And so
because of the financial incentive?
Because of the financial thing, for sure. Not all, but most.
Costs a shit ton of money.
Costs a shit ton of money, and they have expensive overheads and offices, and they want to have nice lifestyles. So very few plastic surgeons turn down patients. So if you do enough surgery, ultimately the blood supply can be disrupted enough that you get infected, inflamed, destroyed, and it can die. They then come into your office as the botched doctor, destroyed, but they have body dysmorphia. So under normal psychological criteria, you would never allow them to have plastic surgery. But what are you going to do? You've got to now take on the worst psychological candidate for plastic surgery, but you have to because you can't let them live the rest of their life with no nose, or with a distorted face, or with breasts that are contracted and look like crab claws. It can be very tricky, but I've learned how to do that.
Tell us how many patients you turn down and how actually it's ironic that no could be a phenomenal marketing strategy.
Yeah, I turn down patients all the time. And honestly, one of the nice things about being financially secure and being extremely successful and well known as a plastic surgeon is I really don't need to operate for money anymore. It's probably smarter if I stop, to be honest with you. I don't need the risk anymore and the potential extortion of someone saying, because if someone puts out a tweet saying Terry Dubrow ruined me, TMZ's going to call me within an hour.
Yeah.
And they're going to publish that, and that's bad. But I love it. I'm pretty good at it. And I've learned to, I call it whisper, you know, the dog whisperer. I've learned to my best ability, and it's not perfect, but I've learned how to whisper patients to allow them, if they're going to have plastic surgery, at least they understand, they've heard what the truth is about it. And so, like if you came in and you wanted a facelift, you do not need a facelift, okay? But you could certainly have a facelift, right? And let's say you are the type of person who did this. You go, I just love the way this looks. And I go, yeah, but you're gonna look like a guy with a facelift, okay? You don't have this. Okay, this could use a facelift, but not you. For example, I would say, let me just tell you something. You look great. You're really not gonna look better. You're gonna look altered. You're gonna look weird. You're gonna have scars. And you're gonna look like a dude who had plastic surgery. Isn't that gonna turn you off from a facelift? Are you gonna have a facelift after I say that?
No.
Probably not.
Not doing that.
How many plastic surgeons are gonna say that to you?
Not.
I promise you,
Yeah.
you go to 10 the best plastic surgeons in Beverly Hills, you're getting 10 pre-ops. 10 people wanting to operate on you. Tomorrow, they're gonna do a facelift on you. So that protects me from a lot. And then if I get the body dysmorphia patient who needs to have this thing fixed because it's a true deformity, I go, okay, let's play a game here. I operated on you and it's worse. Where are we gonna go from there? Oh, you're the botched doctor. It's not gonna be worse. I go, no. It's a scalpel, not a magic wand, okay? This is not a magic trick. I go, but what if it goes badly? How are we gonna handle that? Are you gonna go crazy on me? Are you gonna go in the hospital with severe, what's our backup plan if it goes badly? So, and if they say, I'm not worried, it's you, I won't operate on them. But if I can come to some meeting of the minds, an agreement that I can feel comfortable with, that if it does go badly, we'll work through it, then I'll operate on them.
It can be dangerous. And I want to talk about Kim Kardashian, who's one of the most famous people in the world. She's got 455 million followers on Instagram. And people are obsessed with her ass. And Brazilian butt lifts are some of the most popular forms of plastic surgery, and they're also the most dangerous form of plastic surgery. So maybe talk to us about what happens to make them so dangerous, and what's your advice to all the women out there who want the big ass?
Well, so as you probably know, I'm not a fan of the Brazilian buttock lift. And all it is, it's very simple. You take fat from one part of your body through liposuction and inject it into the buttock to make it fuller. Sounds easy, right? The problem is there are very short, big blood vessels in the buttock that are directly connected to the main vein feeding back to the heart, to the vena cava. And if you get accidental, inadvertent fat injected into those blood vessels and it goes into your vena cava, it goes back to the right side of your heart, to your lungs, and it gives you a fat embolism. And that can be and is often fatal. So no operation, and that happens a higher percentage of the time than is acceptable in elective surgery. Look, if you have pancreatic cancer and I tell you there's a 1 in 3,000 chance you're going to die from this operation, you're still having the operation. I tell you there's a 1 in 2,000 chance you're going to die from a Brazilian buttock lift. Well, there's hundreds of thousands of them done. It's not worth the risk. So I don't do it. I don't recommend anyone does it. And I'm waiting. Remember the buttocks? I'm older than you, but the 70s buttocks, the Bodero type buttocks, the smaller buttocks.
Yeah.
If you have a smaller buttocks, let's celebrate that now. Let's leave it alone.
Yeah. Salute to Bo Derek, by the way, for those of us who are our generation,
Yes.
who I think was the most beautiful woman in the world, maybe ever.
Yeah.
So, plastic surgery is huge. How does one find a great plastic surgeon? And there's so much,
Yeah.
yada, yada, yada. I mean, breast augmentation, which we're also going to talk about in a second. It's, who's the best breast doctor? Who's the best nose doctor?
It's even harder now than it was before because, you can't judge a plastic surgeon by their before and afters because they're not showing you every before and after.
Right.
Right? And I just think there's a few basic fundamentals that you have to check, a few boxes you have to check. You have to check board certification.
Yeah. Don't they all have board certification?
No.
In Beverly Hills, all the doctors don't have it?
No, over 50% of the doctors who do cosmetic surgery, even Beverly Hills, are not real plastic surgeons, they're cosmetic surgeons.
Okay. What's the difference?
I did a residency and a fellowship in plastic surgery. A lot of them are general surgeons.
Got it.
Or did weekend courses. So they have to be board certified, American Board of Plastic Surgery or American Board of Facial Plastic Surgery. Number 2, you have to say to them, could you do this procedure in a hospital if I wanted you to? Oh, I never do it in a hospital. I do it in a surgery center. No. Are you allowed to do this procedure in a hospital? And if they don't say yes, that means they're not vetted. Because a hospital won't let you do, imagine what a hospital does before they take on the risk of letting you do a procedure in their hospital.
Right.
So they have to have hospital privileges somewhere. Then, word of mouth. Looking at their pictures doesn't really help you because I can do 1,000 operations and have 20 good results, and I'm going to show you all 20.
Exactly. No one's putting up their worst photos.
Yeah. So word of mouth. The nurses know, if you know any nurses, they know, friends that have had good experiences. But it's funny, I was talking to someone the other day and they were talking about this one particularly hot plastic surgeon right now in New York. He's the guy of the moment. And they said, oh, well, they did so on and so, and then they did this person, that person. I said, you really can't judge it by that necessarily because you're seeing such a small sample size of a huge piece of data that I said, if we lined up our 50 of our worst results, you would never have plastic surgery from any of us. So the short story is board certification, hospital privileges, word of mouth, if you can talk to people who've had surgery before with them. And then don't just go see one person, go see a few and see how much time they spend with you.
They charge you, some of these people, for the consultation.
So
you may spend $5,000 before you're
the guy who's really hot right now in New York, I think, is charging you $5,000
for 1 hour to sit down with them.
Yeah, if he spends an hour with you. And then I said this on season 5 of Botched. I looked at the page. I go, where did you find the plastic surgeon? She goes, I saw him on a TV ad, and I said to her, never trust a plastic surgeon you see on TV. And we had a moment, we broke the fourth. She looked at me and I looked at her and I went, just kidding. Obviously it was on Botched.
Right, so price elasticity is important in everything that we do when we buy, right? And so the range of prices in Beverly Hills, even for example, for a breast implant surgery could be $10,000 on the low end, and then I just We had a friend who paid $80,000
right.
for breast augmentation, breast implants.
Right.
Insane? Or you get what you pay for?
No.
Insane.
Insane. Breast augmentation is an extraordinarily easy beginner operation in plastic surgery. So don't spend more than 10 or 12. There's no difference between the guy in Culver City than the guy in Beverly Hills. It's a very, very basic operation. I will tell you, you may not be aware of this, but guys are now charging $350,000 to $400,000 for a facelift. I took care of a patient the other day, came in to see me. She had a botched facelift in Beverly Hills. She paid $350,000. She went to another guy to fix it in Manhattan. He charged her $450,000. And it's still a disaster. And then she came to me, and I'm looking at the records going, wow, you've paid almost, including the aftercare and the hyperbaric, you've paid almost $1 million for 2 failed plastic surgeries. You can go to Encino and find a fantastic plastic surgeon. You can find.
But people don't know how. Like I hear my wife's friends talk about this all the time. I had a baby. I want a breast lift. I need breast surgery now that I'm done with kids. It's like the talk of the town. And we live in Brentwood, which is a very wealthy community. So these people will pay for whatever they need to pay within reason. Within reason. But $40,000 for a boob job. Yeah, okay, no problem.
That's a lot. If one thing I will tell you, if someone's charging $40,000, if they're getting 40, 50, 60,000, they're probably pretty good at it.
Right.
So at least you're paying.
And there's a wait and all that.
Yeah, and you're probably you're paying for at least a minimal level of competency. But again, that's not a hard operation.
Yeah, but let's talk about that. There's 5 FDA-approved breast implant manufacturers in the United States, and there's 1,000 permutations between all of those breast implants. And again, from single days, from friends of friends, they're all different, right? It's not easy. They show you a picture book. Here's what I want my breast to look like. They may or may not. Like they may have one brand, may have another brand, and I'm just going to be crude for a minute, but I remember dating a woman and her breasts literally felt like coconuts.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, how on earth does that happen?
So the thing that makes breast augmentation a bad operation.
By the way, it was so unattractive.
Yeah.
That it's like a little bit of touching, and I don't want to be too forward on the show, but it was not attracted, finished.
So the way I give a consult in plastic surgery for breast augmentation, I say, okay, all the good stuff behind breast augmentation. They say, right. I go, let me tell you all the negatives first. Let's get past that, and then we'll talk about the good stuff. I said, the problem with breast augmentation is it's the #1 operation that will have a complication in plastic surgery. That's because we're putting a foreign body in you, and the immune system will come by and put scar tissue. And no matter how good the plastic surgeon is, no matter what they tell you, it has nothing to do with him. It's all in your physiology. So you can be the best plastic surgeon who does the most difficult cases or who does the most breast augmentation. It can happen to you, potentially. So you have to know that, and it's on the consent form. However, good news is there is a new implant that just got FDA approved here last year called Motiva, M-O-T-I-V-A, that we believe, it just went through FDA approval. But that doesn't mean what I'm about to tell you is true, but it appears to be true because it's been in Europe for 13 years. It has a very low hardness rate. So my recommendation to people who do breast implants these days is to look at the Motiva implants very carefully. But the coconut implants you saw had nothing to do with the surgeon.
Oh no, but he or she picked the implants.
But it was they have a complication.
Both.
They got encapsulated. It's called encapsulation. Scar tissue forms. I said, and that happens 15% of the time.
And they have to be redone.
They have to be redone. And by the way, I think probably if there was no significant chance of capsular contracture, I probably wouldn't have a TV show. Because people try to fix it, they try to fix again, and then it starts to destroy the tissue.
You have a lot of celebrity clients. When we were talking about this summer, you said very risky. A celebrity have huge followings, and like you referenced on our show today, something goes bad, I don't know. I mean, great advertising on the one hand. And
So, yes. So if you're quote unquote, I say this, with all humility, if you're a famous plastic surgeon who is being followed by TMZ and other outlets, I think it's a better idea that you don't operate on celebrities. You don't need to. They're not going to really necessarily tell anybody, and if it goes badly, you got a problem. If you're not famous, you want to operate on celebrities because you hope they'll tell people, and that'll build your practice.
Yeah.
But I remember an Academy Award winner came to me about 10 years ago wanting a facelift, and I met her, and she was kind of nice, not that nice, but kind of nice. And it was a chip shot facelift. It would have been fun to do. And I went home and I said, not in a million years am I going to do her facelift, because if it goes badly, that's me.
Operating on family members, yes, no, your daughter had a problem with her lip when she was younger.
Yeah. I say, okay, so different plastic surgeons feel differently about this, but I think what I'm about to say makes the most sense. Never operate your family members. You lose your objectivity. You lose your perspective. Unless you happen to have a particular experience and skill that is far above what other people have. So my wife had a thing in her stomach, and I don't know anybody else who can fix that. Because I've done it 117 times, and the best plastic surgeon in Beverly Hills has done it twice. So it's just that thing on Netflix, America's Team, the thing with Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, that's on right now.
It's on right now.
Yeah.
Troy Aikman can't throw in the rain. All right. So if it's raining, you don't really want Troy Aikman, as great as he is, to necessarily be your quarterback that day. Well, it's always raining with me. My cases are all botched, so I'm experienced. So if my kid, if I'm an expert at throwing in the rain and my kid's in the rain, I'm going to fix them, if you know what I mean,
I've heard stories, we've all heard them, about wealthy Middle Eastern clients saying, I need a surgeon or a doctor. I'm going to put them on my 747. I'm going to pay them $1 million. They're going to come in for the day, and then you can go back home. Have you ever done a surgery like that?
So I, among other surgeons I know, have been offered to go over there and do that.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, you lose 4 days. They don't pay you $1 million. And then what do I never do that. But I have friends who will go there for a week and do tons of surgery. But they become very, believe it or not, they don't want to pay that much anymore over there. So my friends will go over there and make $200,000 in a 6-day period, and it takes them 10 days to do it, because they're 2 days over, 2 days back, and $200,000 in 10 days is not that much for a plastic surgeon.
Your wife said she's the only wife of a plastic surgeon who does not have breast implants.
By the way, we're kidding. We don't know that. We don't know every plastic
I don't
surgeon's
know.
wife. I don't know.
You've not taken a national poll on this?
Yeah, exactly. She's kidding, obviously.
Yeah,
but
she's a gorgeous woman, and she has a beautiful figure, and she's an even nicer person.
Thank you. But there was a period where she did that typical Orange County, Newport Beach thing where she had 4 kids and then got ridiculously fit.
Yeah.
And she basically had nothing in her chest. She'd show this to me, she'd go, do you think? I'd go, no, I don't know, I don't want to, don't do it. And then weirdly, with hormonal shifts and perimenopause, they came back. And it can happen.
How is AI going to improve the future of plastic surgery?
I don't think it's going to have any effect until robots learn how to have hands.
You see on Instagram, and I'm not in China right now, but there are stories and reels that I see robots actually doing surgery in the operating room.
That's BS, by the way.
Bullshit.
They can't, if that were true, you listen to Elon Musk, the hardest thing to do is the hand, right? They can barely move a glass of water or a pitcher of water into a glass here. To do surgery, not happening, not true, BS. It would be here.
Obesity is a huge problem in the United States.
Yep.
Ozempic is all the rage right now. You tried it to see how you're feeling. You're on it right now.
I'm on Mounjaro.
Okay.
I'm a giant fan.
So why, you're very fit.
Yep.
Were you overweight?
No.
So why are you doing it?
So,
Well, and who needs it?
yeah. So I'm fascinated with this new generation of drugs. I think this is a historic change in the treatment of obesity, which is the #1 risk factor for all causes of mortality, including cancer, diabetes, neurodegenerative disorders, right? And heart disease. I got so obsessed with them and the way they work is I studied for a year. This is so typical me and someone like you too. At this stage of my life, 2 years ago, I studied for the American Board of Obesity Medicine certification exam, and I took the exam, and I'm board certified in obesity medicine. So I'm a qualified expert in these drugs, and I prescribe them. But these drugs go far beyond what they do just for obesity. Because of their effects on sugar and sugar's related effects on inflammation, they clearly have a very powerful anti-aging longevity effect. And now they're approved for patients who've had heart attacks, even if they're not overweight. They're approved for fatty liver disease, even if you're not overweight. They're about to be approved for Alzheimer's. So because of what they do to sugar and insulin sensitivity, their effects are far and above and beyond what they do for weight loss. And it was funny because I was talking to this gentleman the other day, and he's on it, and he had a gambling problem. That's done now that he's on these drugs. So who are they for? Officially, they're for diabetics, okay, type 2 diabetics. Officially, they have an indication for obesity if you have a BMI over 30 or over 27 with an associated comorbidity like high blood pressure. But if you ask me, because most of the stuff we do in medicine is off-label, I think everyone should be on microdosed GLP-1s because of what they do for sugar and the inflammatory effects on sugar and how they are good for aging.
Let's talk about extreme preparation for a minute, which is one of the hallmarks of my success.
Yes.
Tell me a story about how extreme preparation, which I'm talking about, someone may prepare 1 hour for something, you prepare 20 hours. Give me a story, tell me a story about how extreme preparation has led to something that you otherwise would not have been able to achieve.
I can give you a number of examples. I'll give you just two quick ones. One is, I remember when I was a chief resident in my last year of general surgery, where you operated independently, you took trauma call by yourself. In my day, there were no professors in the hospital. It was you and the young people below you. You were it, and you're like 27, okay? The most dangerous, scary thing, and you don't want to kill anybody in general surgery because you have to go to that morbidity mortality conference every Wednesday and present your complications of your deaths, and the professors sit there and threaten to fire you and say things like, well, why didn't you just take a gun and shoot him? Why did you even bother operating on him, you know? I remember I was always worried about gunshot wounds to the liver because those are very, very dangerous. And so I thought, you know, I don't want to be surprised by a gunshot wound to the liver and have to do the Pringle maneuver and have to take the lobe out and get control of the hepatic vein. Very dangerous stuff so I would study for 1.5 hours a day while I was on call, gunshot wounds to the liver, and just visualize it every single day. And when you do general surgery, you're on call every other night, up all night operating on trauma. Every other night for 6 months. 3 months, then you do 3 months elective, then 3 months again. Very intense, very cool. I kept getting these gunshot wounds to the liver and kept saving them over and over and over again. And it was that preparation and only that preparation and visualization that allowed me to do that. That's number one. The other thing recently is I got in a fight with Jillian Michaels, the former trainer on The Biggest Loser, when these Ozempic drugs came out. She went in the media and said, those are ridiculous, they're dangerous, don't do them, diet and exercise. I said, she doesn't know what she's talking. This is on TMZ, and this is going viral. Jillian Michaels is a trainer. Don't get your medical advice from a personal trainer. And they're fantastic. She doesn't know what she's talking about. And they're great. And share your experience and don't shame people who are on them. And if you can treat obesity, you're going to live longer. And so we were battling, and I thought the one criticism one could have of me is that I'm not an expert in obesity medicine. So I thought, well, here I am in my mid-60s. Do I really want to do what it takes to get board certified by the American Board of Obesity Medicine. I mean, that's like a giant undertaking. So I studied literally almost 2 to 3 hours a day for a year. And then 2 months before the exam, I studied about 6 hours a day. Now my brain works pretty well, and yours does, but does it work as well as it did when you were 24, maybe? I don't know if I could stuff as much math and science. I don't know. It works well for this kind of thing, but that's all new information. I'm not an internist. That's so far outside of my specialty. So I studied and took every practice exam, and I got a 94 percentile on the test. All right. Another doctor would go, because it's board certification. Board certification means something in medicine. It means you took an extraordinarily difficult exam and you are a true expert. And so that's, to me, my latest example of extreme preparation for something that I wanted to become an expert in and wanted to become a validated, certified expert.
We got to talk about the Housewives now.
Yeah.
My daughters have been all over me. I have all these questions. They're phenomenal stories. So tell us how lying actually got Heather on the show.
Yeah.
And then how someone threw a glass of wine
Yes.
on another episode.
Yes.
And you said, hey, let's not do this.
Yes.
And she says, Terry, too late, man.
Right. So, as I said earlier, global financial crisis, got to do something. Let's do this show. And then through that process, the Housewife producers became aware of Heather and wanted her on the show. I came home and said, so, would you consider being on the Real Housewives of Orange County? My wife was a bona fide actress on multiple TV shows years before that. And she said, absolutely not. That will kill any hope I ever have of being a scripted actress again. And it's cheesy and it's disgusting and all they do is fight. And I go, and so I call up the producer. I go, yes, you'll do it. All right?
Yeah.
So then he sends over the contract. And I go, let's talk about this again. She goes, I'm not talking about that housewife thing. So for like 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, we went back and forth. We argued. Yeah, I did something obnoxious. I basically stopped talking to her for about 2 weeks. I'd come home, hi. And she goes, really? I go, no, I'm fine, fine. That's okay. You could be offered a spot on a hit show and you don't have to do it. That's okay. It'll just get us out there, give us a huge platform, but that's okay. And finally she goes, fine. If you want to go on Orange County Housewives, you sign the contract. So I signed her name. I sent it off. And then, like I do, typically I woke up at 4 a.m. and I go, you know what? I've never seen this show. So I go on my iPad and I go look at YouTube, Orange County Housewives, and I see this scene of this woman who at a party says like, F you to the other woman and throws wine in her face. And I go, whoa, no way, we're not going on this show. This is trash. So I wake up and I go, hey, I'm so sorry, forget it. She goes, what are you talking about? I go, I saw some episodes, I saw some scenes. I go, I don't want to go on this show. She goes, show me. And I showed it to her. She goes, oh my God, that's ridiculous, but kind of funny. And all of a sudden she sort of agrees to do it. And I'm freaked out and I don't want to do it. And the rest is history.
Why are people so obsessed with the Housewives? What is it about the show?
I think a couple of things. One, you love to judge people. You know, this generation of people with X and Instagram, it's really good, the voyeuristically, and the ability to, you know, this person's losing their house, they're getting divorced. My station in life's not so bad. So that's part of it. It's a comparison. You know, they say the comparison is the thief of joy. You ever heard that one, when you're comparing yourself to someone more successful? Well, I think comparison sometimes may give you joy if someone is not doing as well as you are. You feel like, well, I'm all right. That's one. Two, and I'm just going to be really honest, I think the culture has changed in this country, and there's a lot more meanness and a lot more hate. And there's so much hate and meanness on these shows that you can like, oh, I hate that. The most popular housewives are the most hated sometimes.
Yeah.
When you list the top 4 that I could name for you, they're the absolutely most hated people, yet they're the most popular. So superhero America has gone to supervillain America. It's much better to be a villain than it is to be a hero, like from our generation. We want to see you fail. We also want to see, to be inspired. But I think it comes down to judgy hatefulness. People love it.
Yeah, we had a conversation this summer, I think a half an hour sitting at the bar. And by the way, my daughter, Ariana, is, pelting you with questions. She's obsessed. Heather, who's 5 feet away, and
Right.
People just dying to talk to Heather as well.
Yeah.
But she knows every episode. She's
Yeah.
watched them all 3 or 4 times. And then I explained to you that Megan Edmonds, who was on Orange County with Heather, had recommended that we apply to get into the show. So, and we had a conversation about this. So I think 2 or 3 years ago, 4 years ago, they came to the house, interviewed us, and I said, we're not doing it.
You went through the whole thing.
Well,
Did
yes
you bring
and
the
no.
cameras?
Oh yeah, they had cameras, and I just
really
sit down.
did go down the process.
Yeah, but I said, well, just wait till we talk about the second time that they came at it.
Okay.
So, the first time I said, I'm not doing it. It's embarrassed. It's not good for my career as a financial guy and respected guy in the community. I talked to friends, and I just said, I don't want people inside my house. My kids were younger at the time and said, if you do the show, we're never coming over. We're not talking to you. It's embarrassing to them if they don't want to be part of it. So I said, okay, we're done. Then last year, another bite at the apple. Madison told me, they want to meet with us again. And I said, I'm not doing the show. And she said, well, I'm going to talk to them. So they met for 10 hours, Terry. And this is what I didn't know when I talked to you, because you said, I didn't know, because I said, talk to Terry. You talked to Terry, and they said, everyone wants a show just because they're reaching out to you. 250 people, they're talking to. But I think she went far down the line. I just said, Madison, it's not good for our family. I don't want people in the house. I love my privacy, by the way. And no one needs to know the business. And when I said to you, I said, and they wanted us on Below Deck, same producers, and we talked about this too. And I did the research, and half the people they make out to look like clowns, and half the people, you could promote something. So I'm going to promote my podcast, my company, but that didn't work out either. And you said to me, don't do it.
No.
Has it been good or bad for you?
It's been extraordinarily good. Extraordinarily good.
So you're advising me no, and it's been great for you.
Well,
by the way, it's a hard no. We're not doing it, just to be clear.
Yeah.
But
it's been extraordinarily good. And I would do it again 10 times over for us, for me. But I was a simple doctor, okay?
Yeah.
And even though I had been on the Swan, it's been good. We've been able to use it for very good reasons. We've been able to exploit the platform. We have very good relationships with the producers. But you don't need it. You don't need it. And it's just pure risk. Now, the reason, I don't know your wife. I've never met your wife. She wasn't there, right?
She had pneumonia when we were hanging out.
So I don't know your wife, but fame is very attractive. It's the democratization of fame. It allows anybody to be famous potentially. And when you get famous, it's hypnotic, it's sexy, it's awesome, and women that do it love it. They're extracted from obscurity, or not necessarily, relative obscurity. They may be well known within their own thing, but all of a sudden everyone knows them, and you get treated. But it's very, very dangerous. And I remember there was a surgeon in Orange County whose wife was offered it. And he says to me, can we have coffee? I go, definitely. And he looks at me, he goes, should I do it? I go, let me ask you one question. I go, is there anything in your past, anything that you can think of, that if it came out would be problematic for you as a doctor? They turned it down the next day.
Yeah, I mean, we all have things in our past that
it's all coming out.
Right.
But most people go on it. It surprises me how many people go on it just as their relationship and their world is falling apart. And they think, the old adage, people would have kids to try to fix their marriage, and it did the opposite.
I tell everybody that, by the way. You got friends, we're gonna have a kid. I'm like, it's gonna explode faster than cure.
You'd be shocked how many people, and you don't watch the show, but I don't watch it either, but people will come on in the middle of a bankruptcy they're trying to hide on the show, or in the actively committing crimes against other people and come on the show. They're so hypnotized by the possibility of fame. But I think you don't need it.
I mean, we're not doing it. I mean, I think there's a reason, and we talked about this too. You got the Bethany Frankels, the Holy Grail. She made all this money on her liquor brand, and if you have a company to promote, like my wife had a company, it's in its dormancy. It's a women's clothing brand called Madtown. But she's a hands-on mom. She's a full-time mom. She doesn't have time to run the business. She said, well, it'd be great for business. I said, well, yes, it would, but you don't have. I mean, you're not doing anything with the business, and obviously, I mean, she was passionate about her company. It was going well, but it just wasn't like, I can see why people would want to do it, but I also can see why most people would not want to do it. I mean, everyone wants to be famous until, like you said, it just takes one thing in your past and suddenly you're just, you're the worst person on the planet. I can't believe you did that.
Exactly.
We're at the end of the show, and I always conclude it with a game I play called Fill in the Blank to Excellence. You ready to play?
Yeah.
The biggest lesson I've learned in my life is?
Find your passion and work like hell to exploit it.
My number one professional goal is?
To share my education training experience to allow people to live healthier and longer.
My number one personal goal is?
To keep my marriage strong for the rest of my life.
My biggest regret is?
This is going to sound so pathetic, but I had a whole bunch of money sitting in an account doing nothing, and I almost bought Apple like 15 years ago with it, and I didn't. But I did about 5 years later, by the way. But that's my number one. I don't have many regrets.
My biggest fear is?
I guess my biggest fear is that with one of my kids, that I won't repair the relationship to the point where it should be.
You have strained relationships with your kids?
One. Yeah. Just one.
The craziest thing that's happened in my career is?
I mean, I got a TV show that allowed me to become the most famous plastic surgeon in the world. That's the craziest thing.
The funniest thing that's happened to me in my career is?
I'm at a loss on that one. I can't think of anything funny that happened to me.
The best advice I've ever received is?
Treat your patients the way you would treat your mother.
10 years from now, I'm going to be doing?
Hopefully less surgery and more content providing and content about health and wellness.
20 years from now, I'm going to be doing?
Hopefully exercising 7 days a week, hanging out, and flying around in my private jet. That's a terrible thing to say. God, I can't say I said that.
If you could pick one trait that would make somebody successful, it is?
Passion. Intensity. For me, intensity.
The most important thing that's contributed to my success is?
For sure, my intensity.
The one thing
my ability to focus.
The one thing that I've dreamt about doing for a long time but haven't is?
Having a reality show called Sudden Beauty Island. I've been wanting to do this for 30 years, where I transform people with very significant deformities and they all fall in love with each other.
If you could invent one thing in the medical field, it would be?
That's a good one. That's an easy one. A device that would tighten skin without cutting it.
If you could go back in time and give your 21-year-old self one piece of advice, what would it be?
This is pathetic. Buy Apple. Buy Apple stock. I remember when it was $1.30. To be honest with you, all my dreams have come true. Every single one of them.
Blessed.
Yeah. Grateful. Lucky. Lucky, grateful.
I can't tell you how many people who I've interviewed who have said luck is so important to their success. I know it is to mine. Timing is everything. You do create your own luck through work ethic, and it takes a lot of things to be successful. But I think every successful person who thinks luck wasn't a part of it is
Huge.
now looking at themselves in the mirror.
Oh, huge. And the final thing for me is always be kind. Always.
One of the greatest underrated characteristics of anybody's success is kindness.
Yeah.
If I were president of the United States right now, the first thing I would do is...
That's a very political question. Have a moratorium on hate. I would form a kindness council and a civility council and just tell everybody, just be nicer to everybody. Let's like say no to hate.
Your brother Kevin died of a drug overdose
Yeah.
eventually, and if you could say one thing to him today, what would it be?
You're an asshole.
That's what you would say to him?
Yeah.
I thought you were calling me an asshole.
No. No,
I couldn't tell. He's looking right at me. Like, you are an asshole.
No, he's an asshole. He's an asshole. I mean, he knew better. There was a song by Bad Company
One of
called
my
Shooting
favorite
Star.
songs. Great song.
And I said to him, I go, is this going to be you, man? Sleeping bottles by your head, died in your bed. I go, is that going to be you? It's not going to be me. I go, it's going to be you, dude. And I go, you're going to do that to our mother. They were like this. So I just say, you're an asshole and you owe me money.
If you were on your deathbed and you had 60 seconds to live and Heather and your 4 kids were surrounding you, what's the last thing you would say to them?
I would say, oh, this is how you get people to cry. I get it. I would say, I had a great life. And your job for me is to have the best life you possibly can.
The last question is the one question you wish I'd asked you but didn't is?
What's your best advice for extending your health span? And that is, you've got to do at least 150 minutes of cardio a week, increase your protein, do resistance training 3 to 5 times a week, and control your sugar. And you can live longer and healthier. And if you don't, you won't.
I have one final question on that because I like beer, IPA beer. Are you allowed to drink it all? I know
Hell
you said
yes.
low sugar. Okay.
I mean, look,
In moderation.
if it takes 2 years or 3 years off your life, so be it.
Yeah.
Definitely. Drink within moderation, for sure. I'm not a big sober guy person.
I appreciate you being on my show. This was awesome. It was great hanging with you a little this summer.
You were awesome. I enjoyed it.
Looking forward to hanging out with you and Heather.
Yeah. Let's do the 4 of us.
We'll go the 4 of us for dinner.
You know, you're gonna do. Your wife's gonna want to do the show, and she's gonna throw the gauntlet down.
We're gonna talk before some ground rules on the dinner.
How badly does she want to do it?
She doesn't want to do it now. It's
really?
like it wouldn't be good for our lives. It wouldn't be good for our marriage. We have young kids. Like, we don't want our 9-year-old and our 5-year-old.
You don't need it.
Yeah.
Trust
Not going to happen. Thanks for listening and watching to my latest episode of In Search of Excellence. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on my social media channels. I look forward to the episode next week, and I hope you listen.